Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. And tonight we are talking about runes because, yes, tarot is my main squeeze, it's my main jam. I love it. But I am also not one of those people that just look at one divination system, especially if there's so many different divination systems out there available. And I always like to experiment, see what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And also this is by popular request. So here we go. This is your episode on runes. And hopefully, by doing that and quickly coming in and saying a little bit before I play my intro, it helps with the audio a scotch better than it has been lately. Because what I've been finding is I'll do my countdown and then I'll put on the intro and then I'll come back in, and it usually causes a delay in the audio of about like, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds. And then eventually everything catches up with each other and the audio and the video syncs up. But I'm trying to alleviate those kind of things, be a little bit more smooth and streamlined in my broadcast because, after 3.5 years of doing this almost every week, I should be a little bit smoother in my transitions. Just saying. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. So like I said before in the little snapshot before and also in our intro video, we are talking about runes tonight. And I see that Jenny is here. Hello, Jenny. Welcome. And I think you might have suggested this topic. A couple of you suggested this topic. And while I am not a runes master to any degree, I did check in with the runes, and I have two sets of runes, actually. One set of runes I bought for myself. They're carnelian, and I bought them at Catland Books. And the other set of runes, I think I ended up getting as a Yule gift in our magical gift exchange this past Yule. So literally about 2 months ago, and I haven't used them yet. And actually, it's pretty funny. Let me show you. So I opened up the bag that they were in, and I hadn't opened up the bag. I just knew they were runes, but I hadn't actually opened up the bag until today. And this was the bag that they were in, this blue bag here. There's a little bit of a tear in the side, so I'm going to have to stitch that up because I would be afraid of keeping the runes in here because one of them might fall out because it is quite a significant rip here. So I have moved that set of runes over to a different bag. But also in the bag, I was just like, this is really heavy. And it's just like, and I was feeling around and I'm just like, these don't feel like there's entirely runes in here. There's other stuff in here. And lo and behold, earlier today, I emptied out the bag and separated out the runes from what else was in there. And there was a bunch of stones and crystals. Let me see if I can show you that without the rocks completely spilling out onto my computer. But yeah, there's like some stones in here. Some like this like metal ring, but like a large ring, not like a ring for the finger, but like a metal circle. Couple of different stones. I don't necessarily know if these are crystals or not. That one looks like a quartz. Different sizes, big and small. So I'm like, huh, that's interesting. So thank you to whoever included those in the magical gift exchange along with the rune set. But I have separated them out so that I have only runes in the baggie that I'm going to be using. So my other set of runes is in here in my bag, my Aries bag that was made by Moonlit Fae. So I have 2 sets of runes. Anyway, my Carnelian set is in here, and they are very, very excited about tonight's episode. And the reason why I say that is because I did do some training to become a Rune Valder. My certificate on Rune Valder work is right here. But it has been a while since I've done Rune Valder work, which is a different aspect of the runes entirely. We're not going to be talking about that necessarily in tonight's episode. We're going to be talking about the runes mostly as a divination tool. So, and I am going to rely on some of you that have said, I work with runes and I'm familiar with it, or I took a course in runes, or I took a 6-month deep dive in runes. Like, your participation would be very helpful in this episode, because I know that it's not just me that uses runes. And also, again, I preface this episode with, I am not a primarily rune reader in nature. I'm mostly tarot. Tarot and also some Lenormand as well. And if you're interested in tarot, and if you're interested in Lenormand or oracle cards, there are separate episodes for all of those different topics. So you want to go ahead and search the archives, whether you're tuning in on the Book of Face or the Tube of You. But you can go ahead onto my channel and do a search for any of the topics you're looking for. And you'll probably end up finding it, because I have been doing these live streams every week for the past 3.5 years. So there's tons of replays available for pretty much any topic that you might think of. And if you can't find a topic that's covered, let me know and we can cover it in the next live stream or an upcoming live stream. Okay. All right, everybody with me so far? Oh, and I'm realizing that I didn't create an overlay. Oh well. I did play around with some overlays though, so I did create some new ones, especially if we have guests on in upcoming episodes. I think it was this one that I liked a lot for a guest. Let me show you. So Sophia is usually the one that I'll put the note in, because so like I would be over here, the guest would be over here, and I can always change up the name plaque depending on who it is that's coming on to the episode. But for right now, I am going to go with actually this one's pretty cute. Hopefully I updated all my socials. They may be a little small though, but different. I've been playing around with different overlays. So, but let me bring it back to the one that everyone seems to enjoy, which is the stars. This one. Let's go with this one for right now. I know people like that one. So, but in case you're tuning in to this live stream for the first time, we talk about different tarot or divination topics or metaphysical topics, and I'm always open to suggestions. But tonight's episode was popularly requested, and we're talking about runes. Now, the structure of most of these episodes is we start with some astrology from Therese Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest. I'll just put that in the lower third. We then move into tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is going to be about runes. Then about halfway through my teaching of the topic, we get into the mid-episode reading. And I do want you to remember, mid-episode reading is kind of like a contest that we have every week. And I I'll let you know exactly how it works when we get to that point. But basically, you're gonna watch out for the keyword, basically the word or the word of the day, and drop it into the chat to be considered for the mid-episode reading, and then we'll spin the wheel. Last week we used, I think, the wheel of names, so we're going to use that one again. I've been using different picker wheels, but trying to make it as democratic and even keeled as possible. And then we usually do the reading live on air. I am playing with different structures for the mid-episode reading because I want to tighten up these episodes a little bit more so that we're not having to spend 2.5 hours every single Friday night doing these live streams. Because while it's fun, I understand that you guys have things to do, and also I understand that I get hungry in the middle of it. It's just like, oh, I need my dinner. I wonder why I'm starving right now. It's because I've been live streaming for 3 hours. So I'm toying around with different options for the mid-episode reading, and we may want to do something like you know, first of all, I want to check in and ask people, like, do you like it? Do you not like it? And maybe keep the contest. But whoever wins it then can reach out to me privately via email for their 3-card reading, instead of having the 3-card reading live publicly on the air. So, I'm toying around with different options for that. And I would love your feedback if you happen to have any opinions on that. But that's the mid-episode reading. And then we continue the topic, and then we finish up at the end of the episode with the weekend forecast. Oh, with the weekend forecast, which is a tarot card or oracle card for the weekend so that you can enter your weekend prepared and not scared. So if you like that, if it's jiving with you, say something in the chat. Let me know. Jenny's already given her opinion. I like the idea of a private reading. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, Jenny. See which way everybody lands. Again, I do try to keep it as democratic as possible, but also keeping in mind that this is a dictatorship, not a democracy. Like at the end, I have presidential overrule because it's my live stream. But I definitely want to know the will of the people because, after all, I do these live streams for you guys. So thank you for letting me know. Ooh, I just got my step goal. Ooh, groovy, cool. That also is an indication to me that I gesticulate a lot during these live streams. But anyway, so that's how we do these episodes. And if you're ready for the astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest, let me know in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and take the ticker down for the weekend forecast because we're not there yet, folks. We're just beginning. And I'm going to open up my prebiotic soda. I've been really liking these. I've been trying these out, but it's poppy. And it's prebiotic soda. This one happens to be in the flavor raspberry rose. This is better for you it's a better for you prebiotic soda that keeps your gut happy and gives your bod a boost. And 5 grams of sugar or less. And it has stuff that helps a healthy gut. I don't know. I tried the original soda flavor last week, or the original cola flavor a couple of weeks ago, and I really liked it. But apparently the basis of this is apple cider vinegar, or the creator of this was doing this apple cider vinegar drink, but she hated the taste. And so she started playing around in her kitchen to find something that would make it taste better, but also wouldn't be additional and artificial sweeteners. And she created a company. So this is me trying out this flavor, though. Now the question is, can you taste the apple cider vinegar? Maybe in like the aftertaste a little bit. It's slight though. Mostly I'm tasting raspberry and rose. Ah, by the way, not an affiliate of pretty much anything. If anything, if I get paid for any advertising, I will definitely let you guys know. And I'm open to sponsorships if you'd like. Poppy, would you like me to be an official sponsor? Like, let me know. Anyway, let us get into the astrology. So this is the astro weather from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astrobiz Digest. Also, I'm not paid. I'm not paid to talk about these every week, but I have found that I really like to cite from the Astrobiz Digest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so that I can point you all to Teresa's Astrobiz Digest, and then you can get a subscription for yourself. But again, I don't get paid for these affiliates or referrals. I'm just simply believe in it. So let me point you that way. Oh. Oh, that's cool. I didn't mean to make it full screen. Can you all see me? That was really cool. Didn't mean to make it full screen. Let me try that again. Maybe I hit solo mode by accident. Hold please. Oh, and Fran's here. Hi, Fran. Nice to see you. And Katie is here as well. Hello, hello, hello. I see some of you are, my normal viewers over on the Book of Face are not on there. They're on the Tube of You, which is fine, but I hope that everything's working. I hope everything's copacetic. Let me just double check, because that would really be terrible if I had egg on my face and didn't know it, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes I just keep going on and on and on, and then I realize, oh my God, there's no audio. Oh, good. Kathy's here too. I'm here. Looks good. Okay, cool. You guys get me a little bit nervous because normally the usual players on the Book of Face are over on the Two of You. All right. Cool. All right, let me shut this. Let me try this. That's what I did. That's what I did before. I had hit solo mode and it just went full screen to the Astrobiz Digest, which actually looks kind of cool. Anyway, I like that. Let's keep it like that. So the Astrobiz Digest is a subscription that you can get with email astrology updates to your email inbox every single week, and it's in layman's terms, so you can be you can get your astrology, but you can also understand it. So you'll get like the astrological gobbledygook, but Teresa also explains it in layman's terms, so you don't have to worry and think like, oh, I have to be an astrologer in order to understand it. No, you don't have to. Yes. Yes, good. I'm glad that everyone is seeing the things that I'm also seeing. Correct. Full screen Astrobiz, and now side by side, and now up in the corner. And all me. Yes. So Katie is here. I'm heading out today, so need to be taking you with me in the car. Well, I am honored, Katie, to be your car buddy. All right, let's do the AstroBiz Digest. So again, I usually share like the overall transits that are going on, and then I will get into detail for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because it is not my intention to take away from Teresa's work. I want to be able to funnel people towards Teresa if they would like a subscription of their own, because I don't want to give away the farm, because then people wouldn't go and buy the AstroBiz Digest for themselves, and that's not my intention here. So if you want a copy of that on your own, thetarolady.com/astrobiz digest. Don't go there now, though. Wait, or put it on a separate tab. And then you can check it out after the episode is over. So, what is going on in the stars for this week? So the public is 10 times more sensitive when the sun rolls into Pisces on the 18th. That will be tomorrow if you're watching live, because we are filming this Friday, February 17th. This means you'll need to be mindful of folks' feelings before putting your work out there. The more considerate you are, the better. The best part about Pisces season is creativity. During these 4 weeks, you can download some intensely creative new ideas for your business. Tap in and see what your muses conjure up. It may be your next big thing. Also, Pisces is associated with compassion. Look for ways to help folks during this transit. The world is better for it, and so are you. The sun will be in Aries on March 20th. So the sun will be in Pisces from the 18th to basically March 19th to the 20th. And then the sun will move into Aries. The new moon in Pisces arrives on the 20th at 2:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in a different time zone, it may drop on the 19th for you. This lunation is ideal for starting new creative projects. It's also divine timing to set intentions around art, empathy, imagination, and intuition. Learn how to work with that magic with New Moon Astrology by Jan Spiller. I swear by her methods. So Teresa basically says that in every AstroBiz Digest when there is a new moon. She always recommends New Moon Astrology by Jan Spiller. So it must be good if she recommends it. Oh, hopefully you'll catch up. I'll pause for a second, though, to have a sip of my prebiotic soda, Fran. Don't worry about it. All right. So everyone got that? Those are the main transits that are going on this week. And now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Friday, that's today. Friday, February 17th. Friday's Capricorn moon keeps the vibe steady and ambitious all day. The planets are harmonious too, which means you'll have one of the best days to flex your CEO muscles. The moon Neptune sextile at 3:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is stellar for PR campaigns. You can capture the public's attention with innovative or inspirational marketing. Be sure to get your fab face out there. Make the public fall in love with you when the moon sextiles Venus at 8:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A fun live stream or special offer could get wallets to open. Mercury sextile Jupiter at 9:13 p.m. is wonderful for short trips, public speaking, writing, signing contracts, and pitching publishers. And this hangs around all weekend. Yippee! It's also great timing for meetings and networking. Make sure you take advantage of this vibe. At 11:18 p.m., the moon stations void, making the rest of the evening chill as can be. So Friday, today, February 17th, is a power day for Capricorn and a weak day for Cancer. So everyone with me? I'm gonna drink my prebiotic soda. And I'm gonna go ahead and just hide everything because I kind of like this vibe. I like it being in the lower corner. It's cute that way. Woo. All right. So for Saturday, the moon will be in Aquarius. Oh, the moon will be in Aquarius all weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Put your energy into group activities, networking, humanitarian activities, and/or teamwork, and watch your business soar. By the way, I forgot to mention that the AstroBiz Digest is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but you can also use the concepts and the astrology that are going on in the AstroBiz Digest to just plan your personal life as well. You don't have to be an entrepreneur or a business owner to really benefit from the AstroBiz Digest. So, fortune favors the brave when the moon sextiles Jupiter at 3:51 p.m. on Saturday. Use this time for community building activities and networking. Both will pay off. The sun glides into Pisces at 5:43 p.m., which I already spoke a little bit about when we were talking about the general big events of the week. This is a gentle transit, by the way. A great time to send out a newsletter or host a live stream, the Moon Mercury conjunction at 5:35 p.m. This aspect is super duper for connecting with your community, so take advantage of it. Discover new business insights when Venus sextiles Pluto at 12:05 p.m. on Sunday. I was going to pause for a second there between Saturday and Sunday, but it's all in there in the same paragraph. So, please let me know if I need to slow down or clarify. This aspect hangs around for a few days, so don't ignore those ahas that may pop up randomly. They may not be random. At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon is void and perfect for relaxing activities. La Luna heads into Pisces at 11:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ideal for drifting off with a mug of sleepy time tea. But keep in mind the new moon in Pisces is up at 2:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you manage to be awake, set intentions around creativity, boundaries, and self-care. Both days, Saturday and Sunday, are power days for Aquarius and weekdays for Leo. Whew! It's a lot of information. All right. So while I'm in the AstroBiz Digest, I do like to open up the floor before we move into the main topic of the night's episode and ask, is there any particular day from the past week that you want me to focus on? Take a look at the AstroBiz Digest and let you know what was going on. Now, I'm not going to do it in as much depth as I just did for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because again, I don't want to take away from Teresa's work, but I can take a quick glance and give you a short summation of what was going on. If, say, Tuesday was a little bit weird for you, or Wednesday, people were really crabby with you, or Thursday, people had sticks up their butt. So let me know, and I'll take a look for you. And Papa Das said liked and subscribed. Thank you very much. And also thank you for reminding me about that. Please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. Please feel free to click on the bell for notifications, but we do this most Friday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is when you're going to get a notification. And you're also asking, I want a reading. You can certainly get a reading by booking with me at tarotbyhilary.com, or you can stick around to be entered for a chance to win the mid-episode reading. So that's not a guarantee that you're going to get it, but there is a contest every single time I do the live stream. So stay tuned. All right. So tonight's episode, we are talking about runes, but I will give people a few minutes or a minute or two if you want to know what else was going on astrologically this week. I can take a look at the AstroBiz Digest and let you know. So, oh, and I forgot to do something. So let me do that right now before I forget. Because we do have our regular moderator. And I want to check in and see if she is here. And also, I know that she did deep dive on runes, and want to make sure that she's here. And if she's not here, we'll just continue with my own knowledge. which is still very valid. And also, if you have knowledge of runes, please let me know in the chat. I'm sure people would love to hear it. All right, let me send that. Um, and I see that a question was asked in the chat. I'm assuming that you want a reading about that. You can feel free to book a reading at tarotbyhilary.com or wait for the mid-episode reading. But now is not the time. Thanks. Okay, so let me introduce you to my runes because that is the topic of tonight's episode. I'm going to start with these ones because these are the ones that I've had the longest, and these are the ones that I actually activated using Runewalder work. So basically, I activated these runes in order to really start to work with them. Do you have to activate your runes in order to work with runes? No, you do not. This was just something that I wanted to do, and I brought with me and asked basically who taught me or who gave me my Runewalder attunement, and basically asked, can I activate my runes for a specific, not necessarily a specific purpose, but in order to like help them give very clear readings, because I do want to work with them. I feel bad basically having them be on my altar and not using them because I don't know how to use them. Can I activate them in such a way that I can like give nice clear readings with them and really start to work with them? And the answer was yes, and so I did activate them to work with them. Cool. All right. So Jenny says, I know very little. Appreciate you taking the topic on. Cool. I also know I can't say that I'm an expert in runes, but as you know, as you know, I will take on topics and I will talk a little bit about them, tell you what I do know, and then encourage everyone that's watching to do their own research on runes and come back and tell us all what you found out. You know, I feel like this particular like live stream community is really great about like doing their own research and doing their own deep dives and being like, huh, this divination tool speaks to me and now I understand the reason why. Or they do a little bit of research and they find out, oh well, you know, I don't think I really want to work with runes, but because I did the research working with runes, I was able to find this divination system that I really click with. Because I understand that not everyone is going to groove with the tarot like I do. That's just the way in. And as I say in my book, How to Read Tarot, I don't think people pick up the book to read tarot. I think they pick up the book because they want to access their intuition, and tarot, it happens to be the tool that appealed to them for the way in to accessing their intuition. Now, but I didn't write a now again, I didn't write a book called How to Read Runes because I don't know how to read runes to the degree of knowing how to read with tarot. So that's my book right there. Basically, my point is there are many different divination systems out there, and I want to encourage people to do a little bit of research, wet their whistle with a live stream like this, and then do their own research, do their own deep dive, and find what jives with them. So my runes are made out of carnelian. They're carnelian runes, and I activated my carnelian runes to receive clear messages for myself and others, and to have discernment basically on when these runes come up, to be able to have a clear sense of what they're trying to say. So I did Runewalder work to awaken an object. And I believe I activated the runes that I work with the runes of Laguz and Anzus. again, if I butcher these pronunciations, I am very sorry. I am very apologetic about it. And if like, please just roll with me. I learn more effectively when I read in books, and sometimes that doesn't translate very well when I like vocalize. So I used Laguz and Anzus to bring those rune meanings, um, to basically use that to awaken the runes, to receive clear messages for myself and others, and to have the discernment to know what those runes meant for the questions being asked. And once I activated them, and I'm not going to go into, again, I'm not going to go into Runevalder work because I just can't. It's a completely different topic, but basically Runevalder work, I think the copyright is from Rodney Cox, and it's a wholly separate form of Reiki based not on ancient Sanskrit or Tibetan teachings, but on the Norse runes. The system is complete unto itself and does not rely in any way to other Reiki systems beyond cursory similarities in using the new symbols and in giving attunements. The system that I use, that I call Runevalder, goes beyond what Reiki does in that the symbols and techniques can be used for more than healing. They can be used for magic as well, including a way to easily and powerfully charge objects or create magical items programmed to do whatever you desire. So that's a really brief overview. When I say Runevalder work, that's what I mean when I say Runevalder work. So once I activated my runes, my carnelian runes, it really did feel as if they were like a little giddy kid, basically. Like they feel very almost alive in a way, and they were really ready to work with me. They were just like, yes, like finally we're here and we're happy to work with you, and like, yeah, let's go. They were very happy that I activated them, and I took some notes when I activated them. They basically, I heard them like giggling almost. They said they were happy to be here and let's get to work. And I think I also used the sun. I pulled upon the power of the sun in order to activate them. And so they mentioned that they were just like, though the sun isn't shining, it's still there. It's still there. It still exists, you know, even when we can't see it. And also use me with 3 exclamation points. So I was very, very happy that I activated them. So, and I am going to give some resources on how you can do your own deep dive with the runes yourself. And I am going to talk a little bit about how the website Futhark Village has a really good blog series called Runes for Tarot Lovers. So if you understand tarot or you're a big fan of tarot and you want to be able to kind of take that knowledge of the tarot divination system and then have this kind of gateway into learning runes, you can do that using that blog series. So I will put that link into the description for the replay, and also I will drop it into the chat as well. Okay. Any questions so far? Let me know. So let me introduce you. Oh, I was gonna. I forgot to send myself the picture that I took of the runes, because I did do a little rune reading before we started this episode, and I basically asked, like, how is this episode going to go? Like, on this episode for runes, what did the runes say about how this episode on runes is going to go. And so I ended up pulling four, four runes. And I would recommend, much like I say about tarot cards and learning tarot cards, sometimes you do want to start with a card of the day practice. Sometimes you really do want to start with like going card by card by card, because if you want if you try and run before you walk, you're probably going to stumble and fall, and you're probably going to stumble and fall even if you walk or crawl first. um so don't expect yourself to be automatically good at runes like right off the rip. Like, I was not good at tarot right at the start. I had an affinity for it. I enjoyed it, but I definitely wasn't good at it at first. So enter this experience with a new divination system like runes or like tarot or Lenormand with an open mind, with a beginner's mind. Know that you're not going to be 100% perfect, and even the best tarot readers are not 100% accurate all the time. In fact, most of us are around 80 to 85% accurate because there's this little tricky thing called free will. So know that and remember that and keep that in the back of your mind when you're learning a new divination system like the runes. Like, you're not going to be perfect and you're going to make mistakes. And I would really recommend taking the runes one at a time before adding on, reading 2 runes, 3 runes, 4 runes. Of course, that being said, I went ahead and ended up pulling 4 runes. So, let's see. Where did I put my phone? So I took a picture of the runes that I pulled, and then I made notes as well. So let's see if I can send myself that picture and display it on screen. Bear with me. Also, quick question if you're a listener to the Tarot by Hilary podcast. Well, quick question or quick update. The episode that I released today is a Spotify exclusive. And it is a Spotify exclusive because I ended up putting in a song. And you can only do that if it's only available on Spotify when you do that, because the podcasting software or whatever that I use, it's web based, but it's through Spotify. It's through Anchor FM, which is their podcasting platform, basically. And if you have already listened to the episode, what'd you think? Let me know. All right, attach file. Please send, please send, please send. All right, it looks like it's sent. Yep. Just about to click on that, damn it. All right. Yes, and by the way, the episode is episode 29, the Major Arcana in Depth, number 10, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. All right, so the four runes that came up, one of them made me laugh a lot. Once I read the oh, so Fran's saying that was my card today. Oh, you received the Wheel of Fortune card today? Interesting. I believe I'm in my Wheel of Fortune year this year. And by the way, what I mean by that, you might want to check out the episode on birth and year cards. again, one of the many replays that you can find from this live stream. But my personal year card for the year 2023 is the Wheel of Fortune. So, and then also I always try and like look out when I'm doing readings for myself. I look out to see if my birth cards come up, if my year card comes up, because it usually ends up really emphasizing the message of the reading or telling me like, hey, you need to pay attention here. So, okay. So I am going to add the rune. Where'd it go? Is it here? Is it this one? Yes, it is here. Cool. All right. Let me explain a little bit about runes first before I go ahead and I show you the cards that came up. Oh, darn it. That is not what I meant to do. Runes for found it. So I'm going to be citing from a couple of different sources. Cool. Great. Jenny says just subscribed on Spotify. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I hope there's 29 episodes. But this particular, the 29th episode is exclusive to Spotify because I added music. And try not to get your ears blown out by the music that I added. I made sure to do a little preface like right before I put in the song track. So just let me know. And it's a relatively short episode. I think it's no longer than, it's about like a 10-minute episode, mostly because the song's 3 minutes or something like that. So I'm going to be citing from Futhark Village. So it's futharkvillage.com. And you might want to do a search in the sidebar and search the phrase runes for tarot lovers. And you'll get the blog series that I'm talking about. And I'm going to go ahead and drop in the first one so that you have more of a sense of like what the runes are, basically. Again, I would caution you to not go there right now. Wait until the end of the episode, and then you can go ahead and click on the links. But I'll show it here. But the main.com is futharkvillage.com. And again, if I'm butchering these names, I'm very, very sorry. When you learn things mostly out of books, that happens. So I can't tell you the number of times that I mispronounced faux pas for years, because faux pas does not look like faux pas when you read it. It's not how it's spelled. So, Runes for Tarot Lovers, a brief history of the runes. The Elder Futhark, the first evidence we have of runic writing is primarily in the form of names. And by the way, this is by Perseus Greenman. So much credit. First, the runic writing is primarily in the form of names engraved on combs and other personal items. The runes used straight lines because they were primarily carved. It is hard to make curves when carving. This early runic writing is called the Elder Futhark, despite being non-standardized in the early centuries. The younger Futharks, later kings and wealthy men began having rune stones carved, mostly in younger Futharks. This practice coincided with the early efforts at Christianizing Northern Europe. So more of the rune stones contained Christian poetry and imagery than containing pagan. So, well, so far, you might ask, everything has been about the runes as a writing system. I thought they were a system of divination like tarot. I didn't sign on to learn a new alphabet. And many strict Reconstructionist neo-heathens agree with you. They say that there is no evidence that the runes were ever used historically as anything but a writing system. But as Perseus writes, I think that they are wrong. The earliest writing about the Germanic peoples is a book called Germania by the ancient Roman historian Publius Tacitus in 98 CE. Tacitus wrote in his book on the culture of the people north of him that augury and divination by lot no people practice more diligently. The use of the lots is simple. A little bough is lopped off a fruit-bearing tree and cut into small pieces. These are distinguished by certain marks and thrown carelessly and at random over a white garment. Modern neo-heathens who use runes in divination act under the assumption that the strange marks carved into the wood are the runes. We have no other surviving marks which would have been strange to a Roman observer from the Germanic peoples of Northern Europe, so we choose to assume that the runes are it. Everyone with me so far? So the rune poems. Our best source of information as to how the ancient peoples interpreted the runes comes from a collection of 3 rune poems, the Icelandic, Norwegian, and Old English rune poems. These 3 rune poems contain descriptions of each rune. Again, we don't know if these rune poems were how the ancient peoples interpreted the runes in divination or in magic, but we have no other descriptions of the runes to go by. Many say that the rune poems were more like A is for apple, B is for ball, to teach people how to write with the runes. And it's possible that they're right. But over the course of the past century or so, a form of magic and divination called, I'm going to mispronounce this, Galdr. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Galdr. Yeah. Galdr has been developed by neo-pagans and neo-heathens, in which we work with the runes as if the rune poems tell us things about their nature. Whether it was true of the ancient peoples or not, it is true of modern peoples that Fehu means wealth and Isa means ice. This is the magical system that this blog series teaches you. Runes for Tarot Lovers. It is a modern magical system based on Norse mythology and culture, the rune poems, and a healthy dose of UPG, unverifiable personal gnosis, by well-read authors over the past century. And note that Galdr is not explicitly pagan. All 3 rune poems make at least oblique references to either Jesus or the Christian God. If this was used as a magical system during the migration era when the poems would have been composed, it was being used by Christians who knew the stories of Odin, Thor, and Tyr. A lot more information than you thought, right? So there's a way that each Futhark was written down, as it was remarkably consistent. A large, and by the way, most good divination systems are consistent. They have a structure, they have a system, right? A large fraction of the runic inscriptions we still have surviving are of the runes broken into 3 rows, 4 for the Anglo-Saxon Futhark. These rows are called eights. I'm probably mispronouncing that too, but Aetts. In the Elder Futhark, there are 8 runes in each 8. Or et or 8. In the most common younger Futharks, there are 16 runes broken into 3 eights. In the most common Anglo-Saxon Futhark, there is a 4th row containing 4 additional runes. Many modern magical practitioners ascribe esoteric meanings to these eights. Each is named after a god whose name begins with that letter. Frey's 8, Heimdall's 8, and Tyr's 8. You will sometimes also see the first 2 eights, or ets. Again, someone correct me if I'm mispronouncing. I do apologize. You will sometimes also see the first 2 ets named after goddesses, Freya or Frigga's et, and Hel's et. The third et is always tears. With me so far? Unfortunately, we have no consistent esoteric magical meaning for the ets from one modern author to another, and no historical evidence for the ets having a magical meaning. But in this blog, Perseus uses the ets as a convenient grouping, but will not be talking about them as being specifically magical. I do enjoy reading some of this because there is an acknowledgement that it's just like by this point in the post, most neo heathens will have something to be mad at me about. So the only thing I will address in this last section is the mythical origin of the runes. So the god Odin, king of Asgard, lived the full fool's journey. When he got to the hanged man, he took it a little further than is probably a good idea. He hanged himself from the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, a sacrifice of himself to himself. He even pierced himself with his own spear, Gungnir. When he was in full Ten of Swords mode, he had a vision. The runes came to him in this vision, and he learned the magic of Galdur. He then got down from the tree and taught the magic to 4 others: a dwarf named Dvalin, an elf named Dane, a Jotun named Asvid, and an unnamed human. Each of them brought the runes back to their own people and taught everyone who would learn. So that is the source and the history of where the runes came from. Now let's get into so there's the reason why I mention this particular way of learning the runes is because I assume that a lot of you that, subscribe to this live stream or show up every week have a working knowledge of tarot, or at least an understanding or a respect of tarot. And so much like what I did in the episodes that I did a couple of weeks ago on tarot and astrology, where I talked a little bit about, tarot is a divination system, astrology is a divination system. And sometimes you can take the knowledge that you have of one divination system and translate it into understanding another divination system when you see the correlations and the comparisons, right? For example, like there's Aquarius season. We talked about Aquarius and its correspondence to the star card of the major arcana of the tarot. And what you know about Aquarius, you can apply to the star card of the tarot, and what you know about the star card of the tarot, you can then apply to the sign of Aquarius, right? Much in that way, we're basically taking our knowledge, a little bit of knowledge of tarot, and understanding another divination system, the runes. So that's the reason why I recommend checking out this blog series on futharkvillage.com. Yes. Yes, sounds very Lord of the Runes. I agree. And I'm not going to have the time or the space to be able to read you all of the stories that go along with each of the different runic symbols. But I am giving you the source so that you can go there and read those stories for yourself. Because it's not just the symbols, it's also what the symbols represent, right? Same thing with tarot. It's not just the tarot, the fool is the fool is the fool. It's just like, it's not just about the fool, that dude that's stepping out off of a cliff. It's also, what does the fool represent, right? So a little bit of an explanation there of, the tarot, and then you can skip over to the first rune, which would be, I think this is in order of the runes. So the first rune would be Fehu. Yes, Fehu. So Fehu would be the rune of Pentacles. So, because Pentacles is the suit of wealth and Fey Hue is the rune of wealth. Having made that comparison, forget about the court cards because they're not Fey Hue. Think about the hardworking 7 and 8 of Pentacles. Think about the money lending 6 of Pentacles. Think of the care that the 5 of Pentacles needs. That is Fey Hue. And Fey Hue literally means cattle. In medieval cultures, your wealth was often measured by how many cattle you owned. This is very different from modern wealth, which is measured by numbers in a stock portfolio or a bank account. Those numbers don't change much if you ignore them. In fact, many financial advisors tell you to ignore your stocks 364 days per year so that they can grow. But you can't ignore your cows. You have to feed them. You need to groom them, milk them. You need to give them medicine, mend fences, and protect them, and only slaughter them for food slowly. That is the medieval understanding of wealth. So we get into, there's a whole section about the rune, then the rune in divination, and then the rune in uses in magic, if it is able to be used in magic. So you've got that for every single rune if you take a look at that. If you take a look at that series, which I do recommend. Also, I'm a little bit biased because I edited that series. Perseus asked me to edit this series for any like typos or any like basically proofreading, but also using my understanding of the tarot and knowing that I was like kind of a novice to the runes, but I do understand the tarot. So it's just like I'm kind of the target audience there. So for divination, so we're talking about, so I'm going to skip. There's an entire section on like where this rune came from and what it means. But I'm going to skip over those sections to be able to give you the divinatory meaning, because that's kind of what we're talking about here in this episode, runes for divination. So divination for Fey Hue. Fey Hue shows up in a reading. It almost never means money directly. It refers to the people and animals on whom you're spending your money. For most querents, this is their children, pets, or students. Remind the querent that taking care of their charges is what will make them feel truly wealthy. And then you can use Fey Hue in financial magic. So let me see if I can pull up an image of the runes, so that we can go through and you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I say Fey Hue, when I say, this will be good. I think this will work. Ooh, that's pretty. This is kind of pretty. So yeah, I'm gonna snag that off. And by the way, if you're looking for a quick visual guide for the runes, all I do is like an image search. So I'm going to take down the crawler here so I can do a display of this. So I just talked a little bit about the first rune, Fey Hue, right? Let me go ahead and display Fey Hue so you can see it. That's cute, but that'll work for right now, because I'd rather you guys have them bigger than my head. You don't need to see my face right now. You need to see the runes. So Fey Hue is on the top left, hopefully. But that's what it looks like. So, and the little images or drawings that go with it don't really obscure what the lines are. So hopefully everyone can see that. Let me know if you can't see that, or if I should use a cleaner image. But I kind of like that because I like that it has that kind of fieriness to it. However, there is a caveat here. I always warn people to be careful when doing magic for money. This is coming from Perseus. The most powerful money spell I ever did was the spell that got me the down payment on my house. It worked like a charm, and I was on crutches for 6 months and a cane for half a year after that. recovering from a motorcycle accident, which resulted in a 5-figure insurance settlement. I now own a house, but I had to get run over to do it. So yeah, be careful. Sometimes be careful what you wish for, because wow, that's a powerful example there. Good. So Frank can see it. Awesome. So I'm going to go through a couple of these, and then we'll break for the mid-episode reading. So next one is U-roots. And again, stop me if my pronunciation is awful, which likely it is. Let's see. Okay. So there is a little bit of a discussion in the series too about the aces, like in learning because if you're coming from a tarot background and then you're trying to learn the runes, not everything is going to be a direct one-to-one match, right? So the aces of each suit, and by extension the meanings of the suits, I will include a selection of many versions of each card to hopefully better give you a sense of the card's underlying meaning than one deck will provide. So Perseus writes that they associate any ace card with the rune Dagaz. Despite the fact that Dagaz is the last rune in most Elder Futharks, it's also the rune of beginnings and dawn. So many tarot decks will depict a sunrise or sunset behind the aces. The suit of cups shares its energy with the runes of Iwaz, Laguz, and Perthro. Cups is associated with water, both Laguz's river energy and Perthro's drinking well energy, but is even more strongly associated with emotions, a frequent meaning for Laguz, and love. There is no rune of love per se, but the partnership that Iwaz represents is a good representation of the kind of love that cups engenders. Looking at the Ace of Cups, for example, Perseus reads this card a lot like Wunjo with a little bit of Laguz for flavor. This is primarily a card of joy, but is also a card of being swept away by the current. Remember the story of Utgard Loki when looking at this card, and of the horn which he offers to Thor. The other end of that horn was connected to the ocean. Thor drank as deeply as he was able, and he was not able to drain the horn or the cup. So again, knowing a little bit of Norse mythology here can really help you to understand some of the runes' meanings and also some of the interpretations of the runes. So I'm not going to go into like all of the aces there, but there is no real one-to-one match between a rune and a card, for example. Or it may happen, but very, very rarely. It's almost like the runic energy is kind of like the in-betweens of the cards. Like if you were to put two tarot cards, there would probably be a rune that you could put in that meets in the middle of that energy. Does that make sense to everybody? Anyway, let's move on to Uras or Uruz. Again, I'm probably butchering the pronunciations here. So that one's next to Fehu. Uruz is the rune of strength, but not the major arcana strength. In the major arcana, it's a card of gentleness and being safe with your hand in the lion's mouth. Uruz is a rune of being strong enough to cause harm if you are not careful. And it literally means bull or ox, with both the positive and negative connotations of the animal. We will frequently say things like healthy as an ox or strong like a bull, and both of these are definitely part of the meaning of Uruz, but bulls are also known to charge. So in divination, in a reading, Uruz is almost always represents a health situation or the querent's physical body. Can be good like the star or bad like the tower. That will depend on the other runes in the reading and the positioning of your Irus. When it represents a person rather than a situation, that person tends to be very masculine and often a doctor or a nurse. These are the people with the power to heal, or if they're not careful, harm. And again, people are asking for readings in the chat. Please stick around for the mid-episode reading or to be considered for the mid-episode reading. Only one person can win per live stream. And if you are not going to stick around, you can always book one at tarotbyhilary.com. Thank you for understanding. Okay, so that is Uruz. So we've done Fehu and Uruz. Now we're on to Thurisaz. And you might want to pay attention to this one because actually this is one of the runes that came up in the reading that I did on how this episode was going to go. So almost every card in the suit of swords can be thought of as Thurisaz. Thurisaz is the rune of conflict. It's the rune of Thor swinging Mjolnir in his fights with the giants. It's also the rune of the fallout from those wars, the pain and heartache of those who stay at home. When you look at the man fighting off 6 opponents on the 7 of Wands, or the person mourning in the 5 of Cups, think of Thurisaz. This rune encompasses both. So divination, I read this rune very differently for men than for women. 2 of the rune poems tell us that Thurisaz is a pain to women. If I'm reading this for a woman, I will ask her if she feels safe at home. I will look for who is hurting her or going to hurt her. Look for the sketchy men and the abusers and the sexual harassers when this rune comes up. If I'm reading for a man, this is the rune of conflict, and I look for the war he is fighting. Is something going on with his siblings? Is he vying for a promotion at work? Is he getting into fights at school? So that is Thurisaz. All right, let's do Anzus, and then we'll break for the mid-episode reading. I don't think we're going to be able to get through all all of the runes because there are quite a few here, but I can give you references again to this blog series that I told you about, Runes for Tarot Lovers, and of course a few other links that I looked up. Okay. There are 2 runes for Anzus, which is different from the last 3 runes that we just talked about. Anzus is the first rune of the Futhark, which changed dramatically from the elder Futhark to the younger Futhark. This rune has had at least half a dozen shapes that I can think of across centuries of Northern Europe. The rune that is shown here, yes, the rune that is shown here is, hold on, the rune that is shown here is from the Elder Futhark. There are also some younger Futharks which use this version of the rune, though it is less common than the one below, which is a line and then 2 of the vertical lines through it. As the runes changed in names over the years, all the runes changed in names over the years, but Anzus is one of the runes which also changed in pronunciation. It started with a sound like ah and evolved more into an aw or o sound depending on the location and time period. The Anglo-Saxon rune os is more of an o sound, os, for instance. This rune is like one of the page cards of the Minor Arcana Rune of Communication. It represents poetry, speaking, and even the runes themselves as a system of writing. Anzus is also a rune of Odin, king of the gods. Odin is the entire fool's journey in one character. He is a fool, a magus, an emperor, a hanged man, and he dips into the well of wisdom like the woman on the star card. Remember I was mentioning the star card before? There are even interpretations of Odin by which he is the empress, because in Germanic societies, it is the women who perform divination, and Odin is skilled in the divinatory art of Seether. So, divination, when you see this rune in a reading, look at the other runes around it to determine which of the pages it is. If it's the Page of Cups, you will see a Perthro nearby. If it's the Page of Pentacles, look for Solwillow or Fehu. If you see Dagaz or Thurisaz, it is likely the Page of Swords. If you see Manaz, it is the Page of Wands. Because runes are frequently carved into circles, you don't see inversions or reversals in the same way that you do with tarot. When you look at this rune, keep in mind both successful communication and breakdowns in communication. Frequently, it refers to a situation in which you need to communicate with somebody. Okay. All right, and I see yet another person asking for a reading. So we're going to do the mid-episode reading, okay? So let me go ahead and hide these and show this. And since we are talking about runes, we are not going to be pulling runes for this particular reading. I will be using tarot. Thank you very much. Let us use Rune. Okay. So to be considered for the live reading, drop the word Rune into the chat. Now, again, this is not a guarantee that you're going to get a reading at this time. This is a contest that I do for my live viewers, and only one person can win it per episode. But you can't win it unless you participate. So drop the word Rune into the chat. And who knows? I might I might pull 3 tarot cards and a rune. All right. So only Bone has said Rune. So for those of you who were asking me about a reading before, now is the time, but you have to drop the word Rune into the chat or you will not be entered in to possibly win. And by the way, I think Katie, you're eligible. Fran, I believe you're eligible. Who else? Jenny, I believe you're eligible. And for those of you who came in earlier, Kathy, you're eligible. And I believe Papa Das also wanted a reading earlier, but you need to write in. Manure, you're also in here. You need to drop the word Rune. Fran, I know I got you 2 weeks ago, but as long as I didn't read for you last week, you're eligible. So go for it. All right. If you want a question that is answered by the tarot, you have to drop the word Rune into the chat. All right, Jenny. Jenny has also written Rune. So Jenny is in. Okay. Manor is in. All right, so we've got Jenny, we've got Manor, we've got Only Bone Bone. And for those of you who want a private reading, you can get that by going onto my website, tarotbyhilary.com, and booking one. I have many different options available. I've got email readings available. I've got Skype, phone, Zoom, and many different price points too. So if you want just a quick 3-card reading, you can book an email reading. If you want half an hour to an hour, you can book a phone reading or a Skype reading or a Zoom reading, or if you happen to be in my geographic area, you can also book an in-person reading too. So, but I'm not going to assume. So let me use the countdown widget, and we are going to say contest closes in and I will give you another, feeling generous, I'll give you another 3 minutes. But after that, contest closes. So right now we have Manor, we have Jenny, and we have Only Bone Bone. And I'm going to grab my deck. Any questions about the runes so far? And again, you have less than 2 minutes to drop the word rune into the chat to be considered for a live reading. And Fran, I know you said you got me 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't last week. So you're eligible. If you want to put your name in the hat, go ahead and put rune into the chat. I think everyone is eligible except for Katie. And Katie, I'm pretty sure, is not going to be writing in because she's driving right now. All right, Fran, you have put Rune in, so you are in the running. All right, less than a minute, folks. Less than a minute to be considered for the mid-episode reading. Yeah, exactly. Fran's saying, drive safe, Katie. And again, I'm playing around with the structure of the mid-episode reading. I spoke about that a little bit at the top of the episode where, you know, someone can win it. But, you know, nope, 10 seconds. someone can win it, but we might not do it live. They might have to just contact me and I'll provide it on a separate occasion. That would be for any episodes where I'm feeling tight on time, I think. So I'm percolating on that. All right, contest is closed, folks. So we have, let me go ahead and take this down and take this down and take down my overlay so this is nice and clear when I go ahead and display the wheel of names. So share screen, share tab. So the wheel of names is a random name picker to make this nice and diplomatic. And I'm gonna share this. Come on. Got it. Got it. All right. I'm gonna show this on screen so you all can see it, right? So we've got Only Bone. We've got Jenny. We have Manor and we have Fran. Those are the people that put Rune into the chat. And we're going to go ahead and spin. So let me hide the names. Let me close that ad. Here we go. All right, Only Bone, you are winner. You're the winner of the mid-episode reading. So what you need to do to claim your reading is write your question into the chat. Write your question into the chat. If you don't do so within the next 5 minutes, I've got to move on and spin the wheel again. And I don't think that's the case. I think you're here. I think you're on it. So go ahead and drop your yay. Drop your question into the chat. And I will pull 3 cards for you from the tarot. I'll give you a 3-card reading right now on this episode. All right. Let me stop sharing that. All right. The question is James talking to Brittany? All right. Now, remember, as a tarot reader, I don't give guarantees here. I can only shuffle the cards and see what I see. So, but while I'm shuffling, I do want to ask you, what makes you think that? And I want to also ask you, what kind of reading is this for you? Because if on some level, many of the readings that I do as a tarot reader are confirmation. So again, I start these live streams and I end these live streams with the same thing, which I talk about, I am connecting you with the gift that you have. Okay. The gift that you have, and it's your own intuition. And so much of the time, like, I firmly believe that everybody has intuition. I'm seeing in the chat here. That was the question off the top of my head. I have the feeling, just a general reading, but yeah, if you've got the feeling, if you know, like, don't discount what you know. And I mean, some of it can be fear-based, but think back to the times where you felt your intuition talking to you and there was some part of you that knew that you were right, and then you didn't listen to it, and then you were just like, I should have listened. If that part of you is talking right now, then you should listen. So, okay. Yeah. So the cards that are coming up for you, I will tell you each one. But the first card that I'm getting is the Six of Cups. So I don't know who came into whose life first, but it feels very much like nostalgia and someone re-entering your life or someone re-entering his life from the past. Like this feels like a past relationship or connection kind of situation. And honestly, I think that it's a yes. Honestly, I think there is that sense of like possibilities and that he doesn't want to be locked down or locked into something. He wants to keep his options open. That's what I'm seeing with the 6 of cups. Like I feel like there is a past connection there that's coming up and that's part of the reason that this communication is going on. You're also getting the world card. So again, the Six of Cups and also seeing the world card, that makes me think of like keeping those options open. And also, I'm not sure what's going on between the two of you, but it feels like there needs to be some closure happening because I feel like you've tried this before and it hasn't worked before. And it's like some kind of cycle needs to complete here with the world card coming up. And it's just like, are you going to learn the lesson? Is he going to learn the lesson? Like, are the lessons going to finally be learned so that you can move on, you know? And then finally, you have the Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands to me is very much a defensive card. Like there, it doesn't look very happy. And there, this guy, it just feels like they're being ganged up on, but I don't know if it's necessarily defensiveness or aggression. It's almost like aggression. It's defensiveness in the form of aggression, where it's just like if they're if the immediate reaction to any kind of questioning on your part is defensiveness, that to me feels like there's something to hide. Make sense? So these three cards, the one cups card that is coming up, which is about a love and emotions, feels like a little bit of, past situation, you know, looking to kind of right a wrong of the past or what is perceived to be a wrong of the past. You've got the world card, which feels like a cycle needs to complete here. And there also feels like a little bit of keeping options open. And then you also have the Seven of Wands. If someone's immediately defensive with even the slightest bit of questioning, there's probably something that is being hid. So let me know if this makes sense to you. And thank you for participating. I know it's not easy sometimes to be read for in a public space, and I appreciate you putting your hat in the ring and trying. So I saw a true, I saw a yes. Not sure what the yes is pertaining to, but just let me know if the reading makes sense to you. And I really hope it helps you. Oh, and let me pull a rune since we are talking about runes in this episode. Let me pull a rune for you. Ooh, yeah. So the rune that you're getting is it's the aggressive rune, actually. It's the one that we were just talking about. Hold on, let me show that. The Thurisaz, which is the third one in from the left, which is kind of like representative of Thor's hammer. And I actually mentioned I actually mentioned this before, but like I pulled this rune before to ask like how the runes workshop was going to go, and the fact that this is coming up like again to kind of like confirm your reading, it's just like there's aggressiveness here. Hold on. Through it says mallet, conflict, defense, challenge, danger, competition, and quarrel. Yeah. In Norse mythology, Thor, Odin's son and the god of war and thunder, is constantly defending the divine realm from the malicious giants. In other words, there's a sense of two powerful opposing forces clashing, and the meaning is clear. Conflict is brewing, and you're going to have to stand your ground, stand up for yourself, defend that which you cherish and believe in. Yeah, so you need to set boundaries, basically. Awesome. Yes, it does. And thank you. Cool. Well, thank you for participating in the mid-episode reading. If you like this, stay tuned for next week. Come join us again in the live stream next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be talking about another tarot or divination topic or whatever you guys want to learn about too. And the mid-episode reading will happen then too. Whether or not it happens live, I'll think about, but I do enjoy doing these live. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to put this little rune back in the bag. So yeah, where were we? We were on Radu. Okay. Again, we're not going to go through all of the different runes because we just don't have time for it. So I'll do the top line and then I'll talk a little bit about the runes that I have and also the reading that I gave before the episode. So Radu or Radho. So Rado literally means cart and is a cognate with the English word ride. So the natural assumption is that this card can be compared to the chariot card. This is true in so much as the chariot card is movement, but Rado doesn't have to be, or Rado doesn't have to be the same connotation of control or willpower. On the contrary, Rado is a relatively carefree rune, almost akin to the Fool. Let's see, divination. This rune has two different meanings, and it's often difficult to determine which meaning is relevant in a particular reading. While the more literal meaning of journey or travel is less common, it will really mess up a reading if you miss it. The more common meaning is that the querent needs to get moving. It can be akin to death in the major arcana, transformation, or it can simply mean to speed up on something that they are already doing. This can be a physical journey, but more often it is metaphorical. If this is what Rado means in a particular reading, then it is often a project that they have been procrastinating or slacking on. Encourage them to get their act together when you determine that this is the meaning for this rune. So Jenny's asking, I'm curious how you throw the runes or pick them. Do you select a certain number of them? In my personal practice, again, like I am a little bit of a deviant or a radical. I just choose whatever it is that I'm feeling. And I usually won't throw them because I'm a little bit aggressive and they would probably end up flying everywhere. I mean, even when I was shuffling before, the cards like flew out. So, and sometimes that can mean something, and sometimes it just means that I'm a sloppy shuffler or an aggressive shuffler. But so what I do is I pick them and I'll usually just shake up the bag. These are my carnelian runes, by the way. I'll just shake up the bag and then I'll grab. So if you're starting with runes, I would say pick one. That was I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. We're much the same as a card of the day practice. Like start with one and then grow from there. I ended up picking four for the reading that I gave before the live stream, but that just happened to be an accident. I was aiming for three and I got four. So I don't usually select a certain number of them, or I'll do a different number each time. So does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So Rado, Kanaz, Kanaz also came up in the reading from before. So Kanaz is the Kwana, the one that's named Kwana up here, but it looks like a Pac-Man. It looks like a little mouth, basically. Again, Kanaz looks different from the elder to the younger Futharks. In the elder Futhark, Kanaz looks vaguely like the letter C written without curves. And the younger Futhark actually looks like more like its meaning, which is a torch. In the Anglo-Saxon Futharks, Kaun tends to look the same as in the elder Futhark. Interestingly, the elder Futhark version of this rune is almost always written smaller than the other runes, as if it is the only lowercase rune in the Futhark. Many tarot decks make wands the suit of fire, but wands doesn't really have much to do with Kanaz. The fire represented by the suit of wands is the fire of the Platonic four elements, aggressive and destructive. Norse cosmology is not descended from the Western mystery tradition, which brought these four elements into the 15th century tarot. So Kanaz is more like a hearth fire in nature. It's warm. It has the maternal instincts of the Empress, but I think a better comparison is an opposite of the Five of Pentacles. Those people who are hurting and out in the cold, despite the warmth nearby, are exactly what Kanaz is not. Kanaz is the warmth, the light, the shelter from the cold for the injured peasants halfway through the Pentacles. And remember, Kanaz did come up in the reading to inform this workshop. So in Norse cosmology, fire, Kanaz, and ice, Isa, are the two primordial elements. In the beginning, there was Muspelheim, the land of fire, and Niflheim, the land of ice. All of creation was formed in the Gunakgagap, say that 5 times fast, between the two. In fact, if you look at the runes, every rune can be created by Isa, which is just a line, and a rotation of Kanaz. So the runes came of age in Northern Europe where it was cold. To them, fire is soothing, is the soothing protective element. In the longhouse or mead hall, the place you'd want to be seated was in the center near the fire. And the weakest warrior in the band was relegated to the drafty corner far from the fire. So given the combination, the fire of Kanaz seems like kind of like a lion who would let a woman put her hand in its mouth. Yes, I'm talking about the Major Arcana card of Strength. Kanaz is gentle and only dangerous when used incorrectly. And notice there is that element of fire there in this illustration. So for divination, the two most common readings of this rune are cooking and food, or a person with a mama bear personality. As always, it's up to the reader to determine which. Frequently, the other runes around it will help you clarify what you are seeing. If I see Kanaz with Radho, I wonder whether the person is doing a lot of eating on the go. Kanaz with Ingus frequently means that they are eating a lot of fresh food. When I see Kanaz with Thurizaz, which it did come up with, Iwas or algaes, it is almost always a mama bear. So that's really, really funny because I had interpreted the runes that had come up before, but now I'm getting like a new sense of what they mean. So it's just like, hello, everybody. I am Mama Bear for tonight's episode of the Tarot by Hilary live stream. I am playing Mama Bear for all of you. Let's see. Yeah. It's almost always a mama bear. Thurizaz means she has already entered the fray. Hello. Iwaz means she is seeking out the one who hurt her charges. And algaes means that she is in defensive mode with her hackles up. Although I use the pronoun she in this paragraph, a mama bear can be a man or a woman. I used she because the metaphor refers to a female bear. Kind of funny. All right. What do we got next? Gebo. Gebu or Gebo? Divination. This rune sometimes signifies a physical gift, but more often it represents the same thing that a gift represents, the relationship between two people, which causes them to buy one another gifts. If it is an equal relationship, then the two often try to give each other gifts of equal value. If it is an unequal relationship, then the gifts one gives will be bigger than the gifts the other receives. If I see this rune in a reading, I will ask about a gift they have received. Frequently, it is the first one that pops into their heads. As you know, however, this isn't always the first one that comes out of their mouth. It may take some digging to figure out which gift it is. By the way, only bone, the sixes of the tarot relate, or at least one of them relates to Gebu or Gebo. And that is the six that came up in your reading, the Six of Cups. Gebo, the little crosses, appear in that particular card. So this is not a traditional interpretation of the Six of Cups, but if you are wondering that question about them talking to each other, there also might have been a gift exchanged, or something related to a gift that you may have received from him. Follow the gift. Now, again, that's out of left field kind of reading, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. So yeah, and also, not to mention the fact, so you're the mama bear. I'm feeling very mama bear right now about that reading. So it's just like that kind of shit pisses me the fuck off. And it's my live stream, so I'm allowed to curse. But yeah, yeah, I think there's not only are they talking to each other, I think there's been gifts being exchanged too. So just to give you a heads up about that. Okay. Wunjo is the last one in the top line, and then we really have to wrap up a little bit, and I'll take some questions if you have them. So Wunjo. Wunjo is the rune of joy. Think of the joy waiting for you at the end of the Four of Wands. The Suit of Cups, the pride of the Nine of Pentacles. There is a dichotomy to the cups as they relate to this rune. Some cups really capture the essence of Wunjo, like the women dancing on the Three of Cups, or the simple joy of the child in the Six of Cups. The ultimate card in the Suit of Cups, the 10, is the card of sublime happiness. But then we have the cards that are looking away from Wunjo, like the Five of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Wunjo in divination is a sigh of relief, because it usually means that the situation will end well for the querent. If I see this with Jera, it means something like the Seven of Pentacles, the joy that comes from a job well done. With Hagalaz, Wunjo becomes a hopeful interpretation of the Five or Eight of Cups, that even though everything is destroyed, you can move on and find happiness. Sometimes this isn't what it means, but now I'm talking about edge cases. Wunjo with Thurisaz can mean that they find joy in conflict, like the Knight of Swords, and if Wunjo is with Dagaz, it can mean something like the Fool, the joy of a new beginning, with all the hardships and heartaches that entails. Now, really quickly, I'm going to show you the reading that I did with the runes before I started the episode. So let me go ahead and show the image. So here we have, let's see. I think we've talked about two out of the four. So you're seeing the mama bear energy, right? But we haven't mentioned, so I'll do this in order, and I got these interpretations from a separate website, so I will put that link in here too. So again, I've been reading from Futhark Village Futhark Village, which is Perseus Greenman's blog series, Runes for Tarot Lovers. I would really recommend you read the whole thing because I think it gives you a real good understanding of how to read and interpret the runes, especially if you come from a tarot reading background. Now, this one, is it this? Yes. I went to this website called accessnewage.com, and it has different rune meanings on there. So I would really recommend that you like pick up a book on runes, or you can always do an internet search. But again, interpretations and keywords may vary from source to source. So keep that in mind. Take it with a grain of salt, and also always check in with your own intuition as to whether or not this interpretation or these keywords make sense for your understanding of the runes. I'll drop that into the chat. It's just accessnewage.com/rune meetings. Okay. So the ones that I gathered, so that first rune is called Othala. The keyword that goes with Othala is heritage. So keywords are inheritance, legacy, intergenerational wealth, and customs and heirlooms. It includes everything that is handed down to us by our ancestors and predecessors, whether it be physical objects, money, property, values, customs, beliefs, or traditions. Othala reminds us of some of the core values that hold a family and a wider society together. When Othala appears reversed, which it didn't, this indicates bad faith, bad karma, and family drama. So it's interesting that it's just like kind of like legacy, heritage, all of that kind of stuff. So it's just like maybe in doing this, I'm accessing some of my own heritage. Or I'm helping to facilitate you accessing your own heritage. Whether or not runes is your divination system, maybe this will inspire you to research your own heritage or your own lineage and see what divination systems were available to your ancestors, perhaps. It actually makes me think a little bit of the TV series that we just started watching yesterday. We had tried to watch it, I think a few years ago, and then we just stopped. We ended up catching up, like restarting it from the beginning, catching up to exactly where we had stopped. And it's called The Last Kingdom. It's on Netflix, and it's about a boy that is I think he is, well, it's in England. And the last kingdom that they're referring to in the title is the Kingdom of Wessex. And this is prior to England being unified. And he's born to, I think, Saxon parents, or English, and the Danes invade, and then he ends up being raised by Danes. And there's a lot of references to sorcerers and Odin and Thor and the religions that are pagan, and then early Christianity, and there are references to runes. So I thought that was very interesting, and also knowing that my family is from England, I'm just like, maybe there's a reason why everyone was requesting the runes for tonight's episode. Maybe that's also a reason why I should start returning to my runes. So just figured that was a funny story, but makes sense to me that Othala is the first rune that would come up here. Now, the one that's next to it that is blank, there is always going to be a blank rune with no symbol on it. And that happened to come up for us. So the blank is the absence of runes and invites the student to reflect on the experience of not knowing. It is also known as Odin's rune, in honor of the All-Father and the patron of runic lore. The blank rune is silence, the zero, the void of infinite possibility. One of the keywords also that I saw was like the things, the mysterious, or the things that cannot be answered or will not be answered. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. So it's like kind of like the magic 8 ball, outlook hazy, ask again later, or not right now, or the clouds card in the Lenormand deck. It made me laugh once I read that meaning. So the keywords are cosmic forces and influences, fate, chance, and the unknowable. It's the rune of mystery. When this rune comes up in a reading, it is equivalent of encountering a mysterious cosmic curtain behind which you are not allowed to peek. Odin's rune reminds us that there are some mysteries and answers that cannot and should not be revealed. So, and someone's asking, can I ask a question in the chat? You can ask a general question about runes, but I'm not doing readings. So thank you for understanding. So we talked a little bit about Thurisaz, and went into the meanings of this. So this particular website has the mallet and the giant, and the keywords are conflict, defense, challenge, danger, competition, and quarrel. And I read a little bit about that before, because it did come up as the rune associated with the reading that I just gave for the mid-episode reading. So I'm not going to read it all again. But while Thursaz can be a call to arms, it also can simply be a sign of friendly competition, an indication of competitive spirit. And if it appears reversed, which it didn't here, its connotations are also turned on their head. Here, instead of indicating a defensive stance and hinting at your great ability when it comes to stand up for yourself, there is a sense of helplessness or failing to set boundaries and getting trampled on as a result. And that is kind of where the mama bear energy came in, according to Perseus Greenman's interpretation of Thurisaz. Okay. Yes. Jenny says, ooh, that's interesting. My roots are in England and Scotland. If you have a Netflix account, you may want to check out The Last Kingdom, because I think all of it takes place in Cumbria. There's Cornwall, Wessex, and like I said, The Last Kingdom refers to the area of Wessex. It's basically kind of like almost the last stronghold of the Saxon hold on England, from like the Danish invaders. And I don't know how much of it is true, but I'm pretty sure that it's based on some historical figures. The main character's name is Uhtred, by the way. You might like it, Jenny. I would check it out. And then finally, Knaz is the torch. So keywords are understanding, new knowledge, insight, and enlightenment. It represents a torch and embodies all of its metaphorical connotations, such as insight, epiphany, illumination, knowledge, and even enlightenment. It's a beacon of light guiding you towards your true north, personal truth, and purpose in life. It often indicates that something that was previously hidden, unclear, or hazy suddenly comes to the full light of your awareness. Secrets may come spilling out, and hidden truths might be uncovered. This can sometimes be a brutal awakening, or it can seem like a relief when you suddenly have clarity on something which has been an open-ended question for a while. Knaz also hints at creativity, bright ideas, innovation, hope, vitality, and inspiration in all of its forms. It also, for reversals, which it didn't come up reversed here, can also point to false hope, gaslighting, or deception. It can also mean that something has been deliberately obscured or hidden from you, or that you're failing to take note of the obvious. It can also mean, in some cases, in a lack of creative or personal vision, as well as a distinct lack of optimism and hopefulness. In these cases, the rune encourages you to shape a new and brighter vision for yourself and your future. So these are my carnelian runes in action that I activated with my Runewalder work, but they are very, very happy. And this is also part of the reason that I did the activation for them, because I wanted to be able to work with them, and I wanted them to be clear with me. Um, because that felt like a little bit of a hindrance, and the reason why I wasn't working with them, because I didn't know how to work with them and I didn't know how to interpret them. And some of the messages that I got also from activating them was just like, well, if you put them on a shelf to collect dust, then you're not going to you're not going to learn how to read with them. You're not going to learn what they're trying to say to you. So it's like, use us, please use us, and we'll work with you. And you'll figure out a way to work with us, and you'll figure out how to interpret us, that makes sense for you and possibly makes sense for your clients as well. Now, for me, I never bring a divination tool into client readings that I don't feel comfortable with entirely, especially for paid readings. Okay. Um, Now, there have been some exceptions to the rule, like when I have read using a Thoth deck for someone that had sentimental reasons for using that particular deck and really wanted me to use the Thoth deck to give them their reading. And I said, well, I'm more a Rider Waite Smith kind of reader, but if you're willing to experiment, we'll see. And I basically said a little prayer basically, and asked the deck. It's just like, please be clear, please be clear. Please give this person the reading that they most need at this time. Please let this be helpful. And also, that's something that I would encourage people to do as they're working with the divination system, is to talk to your divination system and ask them, and be respectful of it, even though it is pieces of paper, images on pieces of paper. But talk to it and ask it, you know please be clear. Please help me to understand how to work with you best. Or please be clear with the messages that you're giving me. And that's advice that I could give to you is, work with the tarot, work with the runes, work with your divination system, and also ask it for every time that you go to work with it. you know do a little prayer or an affirmation and be like, please help. Please be clear. Please let the messages be clear. Oh yeah, I'm glad they're happy runes now. They're very happy runes. And weirdly enough, they like to go here. They get very happy, like being in my bosom. And I'm just like, guys, like this is not the time or the place. And it's a little bit, it's just like, no, we're nice and warm and cozy here. And it's just like, yeah, I bet you are. But they really do want to come with me wherever I go. Yeah, like I think I said this during the Runewalder workshop. I was just like, my runes are boob men. Who knew? But it made everybody laugh, and it made me laugh. So, but yeah, that's rune. So these are my carnelian runes. I would be remiss to not talk to you about my other runes, which are kind of drier in nature, but maybe they want to be worked with too. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I just pulled two out of my bag here. So yep. I just pulled Othala, and I think I pulled Fehu. Let me look. Yeah, I pulled Othala and Fehu. So we already talked a little bit about what those two mean. Legacy, right? Heritage, legacy, intergenerational wealth and inheritance. And then Fehu is like basically the rune of wealth and money. So let me look at those keywords again. But yeah, Fehu the Wealthy. Remember the cattle, right? So make sure that you're taking care of it, right? Completely unsurprising. So here, can't make this up. There you go. Fehu no Fala. So I think it's going to be quite a bit before I would integrate runes into a paid reading. I feel like the divination systems that I know in order of how well I know them are like tarot is way up here, oracle cards. It depends on what I'm doing with the oracle cards, but most of the time you don't memorize oracle cards, except for the only oracle system that I can read intuitively is the Tessera Oracle. I don't need a book for that, but your mileage may vary. So Tarot, Oracle, Lenormand, Runes. So Runes is down there. I'll integrate Lenormand into a reading if I feel comfortable about it, and especially if the client asks for the little cards. When they say, "Can we pull the little cards?" they mean Lenormand. So for those of you who asked for the runes episode, thank you very much. Is there anything else that you want to know, or has this wet your whistle in such a way that you can now take this and run with it and do your own research? Let me know, and then we'll do the weekend forecast. By the way, I found this by just doing a simple image search for runes. Rune's image is what I did, and I got this. So you've got Hagalas, you've got Nodzids, you've got Izas or Iwas, Jera, Burkana or Burkano, Laguz. By the way, quick tip: if you're in a traffic jam and you want to lessen the traffic jam, especially if you're in standstill traffic, put the trace the Laguz. So it's right here. It's right next to me, Laguz. Trace Laguz over and over again while picturing the traffic dissipating, almost like a river flowing, while you're tracing it. Do that visualization. And usually the traffic will lessen or subside within about 5 minutes. Now, this is not going to work every single time. And at the very least, it'll give you a distraction while you're sitting in traffic, but try it and see. But that's a little bit of rune magic that I use when I hit traffic, is using Laguz. Yes, and Fran is saying, "Don't look, Katie. Keep your eyes on the road." Hopefully there's no traffic. All right, no questions. Are we good? Do I need to repeat any of the links that I told you or drop them in? Let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to the weekend forecast. Also, a reminder that I do these every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I take requests on different episode topics. And I'm trying to find my tip jar. My stomach is gurgling. Could be because of the prebiotic soda, and could be because I really need to eat. I tried to make it a shorter episode, folks, and it just did not happen. And if you would like, if you are, ooh, hold on. Looked away for a second. I'm waiting for Rune's class to come available, and now I know I'll sign up for it. Cool. Awesome. Love to hear. Maybe you'll just have to come on again and teach it to all of us. They teach they teach a level 2 class now, but will offer level 1 again. Yeah, totally. That's great. I love that. So Fran is asking, do you have one for next week? Do I have a topic for next week? Not that I know of. Though I do want to. We might have a topic for next week. We might. It might be Sophia and I will be discussing the deep dive. On the deck, because we did a little bit of an accounting to see which tarot decks we both have, because we wanted to kind of do a deep dive on a deck that we both have, and I think we're going to use I think the Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place. So I was thinking maybe we could kick it off by doing a live stream episode to basically explain what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it. But I have to get back to Sophia and then actually plan it to make sure if we can. So no specific topic as of right now this week, but maybe it'll be the kickoff for the deep dive of the Alchemical Tarot. So, but if you have something in mind, Fran, let me know, and we can always plan it for the week after or the week after that, because I'm always open to suggestions. Even if we have covered it before, I'm open to suggestions. I was just saying in therapy that you teach the thing that you most had to learn, and I think I've taught boundaries at least 3 times on this live stream, and you can go and look in the archives and search it and find it. And also I did a tapping on boundaries too. So I don't know if you've checked that out, but I am also an EFT tapping practitioner, and I've been trying to do more tapping videos. The next one that I'm planning on doing is like a really short introductory video on what tapping is, and the different points and what it can be used for. So look out for that. It'll be up on my Tube of You. So, because I already started doing the tapping videos, the specific tapping videos on boundaries and on, getting some sleep. But I never did an introductory, like, what the heck is tapping video. So I need to kind of slow my roll, back it up a few notches, and go back to the introduction of what is tapping. Besides it being on the live stream, we've actually done 2 episodes of EFT tapping and the tarot. One prior to my certification and one after my certification. So, all right, let's do the weekend forecast, shall we? Okay. Do we want to do an oracle, or do we want to pull a rune? Or 2 runes? All right, Fran's saying oracle. You choose. Work Your Light or Starseed? Drop it into the chat. Starseed, Work Your Light. Starseed, Work Your Light. Oots, 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 oots. All right. Fran's saying work your light, so we're going to go with work your light. I'm confused. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. You're not playing your game? No, not anymore. Why not? Oh, okay. I'm almost done. I'm just doing the weekend forecast. Okay? Just oh wow, all right. It's just checking on Mr. Tarot by Hilary. Jenny says Rune and Oracle. Okay, I can, all right, I can manage that. I can manage that. So we'll pull an Oracle card and we'll pull a Rune. Oh, darn, forgot. And if any of you would like to make a contribution to the virtual tip jar, I would really appreciate it. I do these every single week, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they're free. They're free to tune into. But if you would like to help support this little tarot reader, I would really appreciate it by you either can book a reading at tarotbyhilary.com or you can PayPal me at paypal.me/tarot by Hilary New York. And why? That is my tip jar. So I would appreciate it. Thank you. But if you don't have any money to spare, please consider supporting this in other ways by following, subscribing, sharing some of your favorite episodes too. Share it on social media. There's a share button there for a reason. Use it. I would appreciate it. Okay. So, oh gosh. Now I'm confused because Fran said work your light and Jenny said starseed. And Rune and Oracle. All right. So I'm going to hedge my bets. We're going to go with work your light, but we are going to pull a Rune too. So, you know, everybody's happy. Okay. I think I all have all of these in order. Not in order, but face down. And my mother is texting me now. For those of you who have been watching the live stream for a while, she's finally learned her lesson and not use the landline during live streaming nights. But that doesn't stop her from texting. And I do have my texts go straight to my Fitbit. So, you know, my wrist has been vibrating this entire time. Actor on Actors, Colin Farrell and Jamie Lee Curtis. Yes. I feel like I already told her that. You ever have that with your parents where it's just like, you're just like, oh, did you hear about this? And it's just like, I told you that. Gotta love them. All right, what do we need to know for this weekend? Share your voice. All right, share your voice. So I'm going to take the opportunity to read the interpretation of this first, and then we'll pull the Rune. So share your voice is probably going to be an action card. Let's see. Yep. 72. Okay. So this is from the Work Your Light. Share your voice. Come out of the cave, persecution, and expression. You are being called to share your voice, perhaps by speaking up in a relationship or through writing, speaking, singing, or some other form of creative expression. We each hold a truth deep within us that longs to be expressed. Sculpted for lifetimes, the voice of your soul is like no other. It carries with it wisdom that can only be gained through soul history and growth. By remembering, tapping into, and expressing this unique tone, we not only heal ourselves, we also heal the planet at large. When you share your voice, you unlock something in the universe and call a missing piece of you home. Your individual voice is the most powerful sound current on the planet. If you have kept your soul's voice silenced or held back, chanting or singing could be truly life-changing for you. As we shed the layers of our personality and start letting our unique soul speak through us, we discover that we actually have a very clear message that longs to be shared. The more we speak it, the clearer it gets. There has never been a better time in history than right now to rise up, speak your truth, and share your soul's voice. If you feel fearful, know that you are not alone and that the world needs your unique tone in order to harmonize. As we each rise up and share our song, we make it easier for the next person to do the same. So your action step is express yourself, share your voice, and speak to those who can hear you. So that is the weekend forecast for this weekend from February 17th to the 19th, 2023. Or whenever you are hearing this right now, like, please don't be confined by the time and space, even if it's 2 years from when I just spoke, or if you're looking at the video and you're just like, oh my God, this video is from 4 years ago. That can't possibly be me or mean me, but it's really speaking to me right now, then it is for you. It is. All right, let's pull a rune. And also, yes, I'm called out. I feel called out by that. I know all of you enjoy that. I know you enjoy that when I get called out by my own cards. All right, let's pull a single rune. By the way, the soundtrack is just like, whenever I bounce them, they get real excited. What do we need to know for this weekend? All right, so this is the rune that we didn't discuss. Let me show. This looks like Perth Throw. Hold on. Let me take down this so you can see. So Perth Row is like directly above me next to Iwas. Now you can't see Perth Row, but we are getting Perth Row for this weekend. So let me look up what Perth Row means. Come on, Perth Row. Perth Row. Perth Row is the well from which people will draw the water to make beer. Perth Row is the cup you drink from while you tell ridiculous stories with your friends at a tavern. Perth Row is the empty dice cup you ignore in your hand as the dice roll across the table. Perth Row is that moment before the dice come to a stop, that anticipation, that unknowing. While Perth Row is literally a cup, it isn't really all that much like the suit of Cups. Cups is a compassionate, tender suit. Perth Row is often a bit rougher, though no less caring. It's almost the opposite of Temperance. Rather than a lone angel pouring out the cup, Perth Row is a rune of the gathering after a hard day to share those cups. Perth Row represents the mystery of what the dice will say when they come up, similar to the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, geez. Who was it that said that they got the Wheel of Fortune today? Who mentioned that? For this reason, some people associate it with divination itself. Who knows which card or rune will fall next? So maybe this is your sign. This is your sign to do some divination this weekend, or to learn a new divination system like the runes. So this is that is all from Perseus Greenman from his series Runes for Tarot Lovers. Okay. Um, so Perthro, when I see this rune in a reading, I think of two things: the moment between when you cast the dice and when you either cheer or lament, and the companionship of the people around you as you throw the dice. If the rest of the reading appears to be about a project, then this rune is similar to the Knight of Pentacles, contemplating the pentacle in his hands while standing in front of his recently planted fields. Everything you can do to make it successful has been done. The rest is down to fate. If this is about a relationship, it is the caring, backslapping relationship of good friends. There really isn't a tarot card that lines up with this feeling, though the Ten of Pentacles comes close. And uses in magic, he uses this this rune to bless his dice in playing poker or card games. So it's just like there's that luck, that companionship. I'm not just blessing the cards or the dice to win the game. I'm blessing them to help me become closer to the people around me who are playing with me. So this might be a sign that you need to have some joyful companionship with your friends this weekend too. Yeah, Fran. This is similar to the Wheel of Fortune, but not the same. So that's your weekend forecast. And I really hope this encourages you to try out the runes for yourself. It may not be an exact match for you, and that's like completely okay. Oftentimes, I think it's in a past episode of Card Slingers Coast to Coast where we were talking a little bit about runes, and Melissa said something to the effect of, pulling runes, and each time she would pull a rune, it was be the specific like rune for no, like no, not you. And finally, like her friend was just like, maybe runes aren't for you. So if you do get that indication that runes are not for you, like that doesn't mean that it's just like not for you forever. Maybe the timing's not right for you to learn runes, or it might be that a different divination system fits you better, or that you like it better. So don't be completely disheartened. But I would encourage you to check out this divination system for yourself and see how it fits and if it works for you. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for participating in the mid-episode reading, if you did so. And thank you for listening to me talk about runes. I hope that it helps to spark an interest in runes for you to now go off and do some research for yourself, or take a class on runes if you want to. Enjoy, and I hope you like it. Again, we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I would encourage you to tune in next Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not sure what I'll be teaching then, but I'll be here teaching something. So once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, don't argue with me. You have intuition. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I'll see you this time next week. Bye.